Hey guys, Blake here with another video, and today we're going to be cooking up worms. Let's jump straight into the video. So today I'm going to show you how I culture microworms, and the first thing I want to stress is that it's really casual. You don't need to be stressed about, a perfect combination of ingredients. You can use just about anything, and people certainly do. So I'd recommend play around with the ingredients that you got at home, see what works, see what doesn't, and just get the right balance for you. So basically, to get started, what you're going to need is a container. Plastic container works well. I've got 2 here because I'm going to start 2 cultures, and you'll need a lid. What I like to do with the lid is to just let it have some aeration. So I drill a hole in it and just stick some filter floss through there, just so that some air can get in and out without allowing bugs to get in and out. So I've got 2 of those. We have, of course, the starter culture, which in my case, this was what was in the containers today. They're just old cultures, so I rinsed them out, and we'll get ready to start a new culture with that. Then we've got our dry ingredients as well. So the important one here is yeast, because that's what the microworms are actually going to eat on. And then you can use anything. So we've got a mixture of cereals here. So these are, rice bubbles here in Australia. I think they're called rice puffs or something. In America, you've got, your classic ingredient, which is oats. You can also use white bread. I might even just crush up some of these arrowroot biscuits. So I'm not sure if they have another name as well, but you can use literally anything, so long as there's starch to react with the yeast and just sort of keep everything going. The main difference is going to be how fast it basically breaks down and liquefies, at which point you need to refresh your culture. So I find that actually rolled oats aren't the best because they take a while to break down. I also like to use Weet-Bix, but we just don't have any at the moment. So that's what I'm going to use today. I'm just going to mix all these together and see what happens. It's pretty low risk with these sorts of things. These microworms are pretty hardy little creatures, and they'll survive on just about anything. So the process is we just need to bed our little containers here. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the cereals and things on the base of these containers. Okay, so there we go. I just got a mixture of all the ingredients there. It will sort of mush down over time, so it's not a big deal. So now what we need to do is just get some warm water, and we'll put in the dry yeast. And with the water, you just really don't want anything too hot or too cold. Really tepid or warm is a pretty good idea, around about body temperature. And with the mixture, you don't want to make it too wet either. You want to sort of keep it pretty much on the dry side, because it's going to liquefy once the cultures really start to get going. So just sort of mix it around, find the right consistency for you. Some other popular ingredients for this are things like powdered mashed potatoes and other cereals and things. A lot of stuff will work. You'll probably be surprised with the amount of stuff that actually will work. My go-to is usually Weet-Bix though. So this is the stage now where I like to add my yeast. We've sort of just dampened the culture here a little bit. So now I'm just going to go ahead and put about a heaped tablespoon, or this is a soup spoon I think, but we'll just put a heaped spoon of this into each of these cultures. And I like to just sprinkle it all over the top. So we'll just mix all that through, make sure that we've got the right consistency here that we're looking for, which I think it's looking pretty good. You sort of want it that, it's not runny and it's also not dry. So now that the 2 cultures are at the consistency that we're looking for, you probably don't need to do this, but I just like to sprinkle a bit more yeast over the top here, create a bit of a sandwich here. You can't really have too much yeast. Then I'm just going to divide this starter culture here among the 2 containers. So we'll just sort of roughly portion it out. And once this culture is done, I will show you, what it looks like in a few days, and also how to feed it out to your fish. So stay tuned to the end to check all of that out. So I'll just roughly spread this across the top, because this has all our, existing microworms here. And then just for good measure, I just like to give it another little sprinkling of yeast. And then we have it. We have our 2 new cultures of microworms. Put the lids back on now. We'll get it into a nice humid area, such as a fish room, and we'll just give it a couple of days to settle in, and then I'll show you how to feed out your new abundance of microworms that you've been able to culture. Okay, so it's been about 48 hours now, and here you can see the beginning of the microworm culture. So what we're looking for with these are these sort of clumps of worms that are climbing their way up the side of the container. Now you should see after a period of time there'll be a lot more worms than there are here, but because this is only sort of a 2-day-old culture, we've got to allow some time for that colony to build up. Anyway, for the sake of this video and for the sake of time, I will show you how to feed out this culture now. And basically what I like to do is just obviously open the container. You can probably see a bunch of little microworms moving around on the top of that culture there, and that's sort of where they hang out until they decide to climb up the walls. And then I like to just grab myself a little kids or hobby paintbrush here. We just find some worms along the side of the container right there, just run along with the paintbrush, and then we got to find a tank to feed these to. So I guess this makes sense. We've got some pistogrammas here. That's a bit of a dirty container, but we'll show you anyway. So I'll just put the paintbrush in the top now, swish it around in the water. We should find that. It's going to be hard to zoom in on them, but it's going to be super hard to actually see that. But surely you can see that they're actually eating something, and that's just the little microworms that I've just put in the water there. So fantastic first food for things like bedders, rainbow fish and things, and of course apistogrammas. It's a great live food to culture easily, add into the arsenal of brilliant live foods to feed to baby fish, and pretty easy and low maintenance really. You just sort of have to recharge that culture every month or so, just when it gets really dark brown and quite liquidy. But that will depend on what carbohydrate you use as well. So there you go guys, hopefully you enjoyed hearing about how to culture microworms today. Super easy food to culture. You can literally throw just about any carbohydrate in there and these little suckers will breed prolifically for you. Easy to feed, just grab a little paintbrush, throw it in whatever fry tank you've got, and they'll go pretty well as a great first food or second food. One last thing that you are probably going to want to know is that the microworms actually sink down to the bottom of the aquarium, so keep that in mind. You know, if you're going to feed it to rainbows, just make sure they eat it all up on the way down. So hopefully you liked this video. If you did, it always helps me out to smash like, hit subscribe, and all that fun stuff. Other than that, I'll catch you on the next one. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.